Hi, my name's He Who Is in the Water. Going to be playing some more Pauper Tron here. Continuing with the list that I've been playing of late, one change from the previous video to this one is I'm switching the Dinrovahor to a braid. Pretty functionally fills a similar removal spot, except with the key difference that you can't hit lands or enchantments with Dinrovahor, but a braid obviously is a much more efficient spell, and so I've just been kind of jamming that, trying to hit more Disciple of the Vaults and Ninja of the Deep Powers, trying to be even better in those matchups, but I'm not 100% sold. Either way is pretty defensible, but talked a lot about the deck before, so going to keep this intro rather short, and we're just going to hop into the games. Alright, here we are for round number 1 versus Teo Salvez. No idea on the pronunciation there. Immediately dealing with the consequences of putting a braid in my deck. I think we can do better than this, so I think for the first hand there we can mulligan that, and this hand's a lot better. So this is pretty interesting what we want to put back. It's kind of the ornament or the drifter, or maybe it's the prism actually. Yeah, let's put back prism because I think both of these 3-drops are going to be pretty important to developing this hand out, and none of it matters. None of it matters, and we're just probably pretty dead this game. I think it's likely that we're just going to be too slow, but we're going to name this on red. Hopefully if we draw an untapped land, we can interact with a Thermal Alchemist or something like that. No drop, no land, no land, no land. Well, Thornwood Falls is going to help us out a little bit here, but drawing no untapped land to get to these 3-drops is just going to make it pretty brutal to not access these 3-drops, but okay, that helps. That helps. So do I want to drifter or ornament? And I think the answer is honestly compulsive research. Just need to see more cards. Need like crop rotation, and Tron land would probably be good here. But it's in all likelihood they probably just have us dead here. This bog doesn't matter. Okay, play is continuing. That's nice. I think I'm just gonna pass the turn here because I don't know if I want to be doing double impulse or impulse plus a braid or impulse plus weather the storm. And so if we get to their end step, then we just cast this first impulse. Definitely do this. Counterspell's like kind of good, but it's just awkward. I think that's still probably the take. And then we'll slide this other impulse in there. We have all of these, so we're going to take Island, because I don't think the second Tron land, the duplicate Tron land, matters that much, and we do have some awkwardness with casting this counterspell that would be nice to work through. So yeah, let's get the ornament into play. And hopefully this counterspell is enough to keep us alive for this turn cycle. And then we can try to drifter into more action. They didn't cast anything on our end, so that's surprising. I think their hand is just bad, so I want to counter this. I don't think they were respecting anything from me. Like, I don't think you would just pass on the main phase there. I guess if you have double Fire Blast, you know, good beats. think the green spells that we hit here are better than trying to hold open this Abrade when they very clearly don't have a Lava Runner, which would be the thing that we'd want to be abrading at this speed. Okay, that doesn't matter. That's a deal 1. Okay. So we can crop rotation. Right now. Is that better than trying to do this ephemerate? I think I still want to cast this ephemerate. I think that'll be better than trying to do ghostly flicker. So let's see where this takes us. Okay. Let's lose this for the tower. Cast Prism. And that's probably going to lock this one up. Cast Ornament. If they don't have Fire Blast here, which I don't think they do at this time. Okay, nice. So we got game 1. That's huge. Huge getting game 1 with like a pretty awkward hand. But they had some pretty clunky draws as well, and I guess countering that Epicure was good. I don't understand that card in that deck from what I've played of it, but far be it from me to criticize. So the interesting thing here is we do bring in Serene Heart. Just another way to interact. We've got these 6 cards that are pretty poor, and I'll leave in the Rolling Thunder because there's a chance that we just deal with a Thermal Alchemist in that fashion. But the Cannonade, particularly if they're showing Epicure and not Gitu Lava Runner. Lava Runner is much more of what you're trying to cannonade. The Epicure will have already dealt one, so you're really trying to Blue Blast that or just play to the board and really just rely on that being not a functional magic card in their deck. Alright. Pretty straightforward sideboarding there. Okay, so we've got Natural Tron but no Blue Blast. And it is kind of like mulligan for Blue Blast with this, but I think I'm willing to keep this one because we have the island, so we're very good at drawing into, or if we draw a blast, we're in very good shape. I think I'm just going to play, yeah, it's the only acceptable turn to cast this card. I think I'll play the Thriving Isle here. So I think we're really hoping they don't have another. Okay, great. Yeah, now we're in great shape. This is awesome. So we can try to impulse for a Blue Blast, and next turn we can go Ornament, hold up the Blue Blast is going to be the hope. But if we access another, I don't know where I was going with that, but we'll see what this impulse does. The impulse is not Demonic Tutor, so I cannot just get Blue Elemental Blast, but with 4 in the deck, it's not unreasonable. What? Oh, okay. I have not seen these 2 spells played together before, but definitely makes boarding out Cannonade look a lot worse. Okay. Pulse of Marasa is acceptable. So I don't think we want to play the Ornament here because we're in pretty bad shape now to all this This is 4 damage that this Lava Runner is going to deal us. So really what we got to hope for is that they either discard a land of this blood token or use Fire Blast to kill us. And then we can Pulse and Marassa back one of their lands in that instance. But we'll see what else can go on in the meanwhile. If they just, you know, have 3 damage into 3 damage, then we're just dead. But, you know, is what it is. Okay. That's pretty nice here. So we're definitely casting Bonder's Ornament. We're in a bit of a pickle here because we don't get to... They have 3 damage on board, so if we just like let them go to combat on their turn, like any instant spell, it's still going to blow us out here. So we don't really have the option to play around anything, which means I think I'm just going to say they don't have an instant spell in their hand, and I don't want to let them blood token into it. So I'm going to, I think, just spew this Ghostly Flicker as +1 mana. Not that the mana matters, but just to draw a card. Or get another Storm Trigger for this weather, because that's what we're going to fetch with Mystical Teachings. And if they have something, then, you know, they got us. And with this much mana and a Mnemonic Wall in hand, it's just pretty easy. So if they don't have anything, they're probably going to sacrifice Blood Token to find Fire Blast, but though they just have the Fire Blast, so that's okay. And we're dead. But yeah, like they just get to attack on their turn. So trying to wait and like get that Pulse or Marassa value we were talking about earlier is not really realistic. Okay, I guess if they have Lava Runner and Epicure, Cannonade looks a little bit more attractive over Rolling Thunder, but I don't think I want these Moments pieces at all still. Blue Blast is just going to do a much more favorable job of trading with it. I guess maybe the Serene Heart is a little worse if we haven't seen Curse of the Pierced Heart yet. And maybe you don't play Curse of the Pierced Heart if you're on 4 Lava Runner, 4 Epicure, 4 Thermo Alchemist, but that's never stopped a burn player before. Not trying to be mean to my opponent, but if you just take a random list from the internet, that kind of thing can happen to you as well. So this hand, once again, has Natural Tron, but is a turn slow on it, but I think we keep it. Going to 5 to find a Blue Blast is a little unreasonable. Thornwood Falls definitely has value here with that life gain. Hopefully we can hit a Blue Blast with this Impulse or just any artifact. Only acceptable turn to cast this card. And we're fine passing here, because if they want to red Elemental Blast my Impulse, I think that's also a reasonable exchange for us. Extremely happy for them to be bolting now instead of on a later turn. I think we'll take the Ornament. So do I want to play this Ornament out and expose it to Smash to Smithereens? And I don't believe I do, because we're going to have such an abundance of colorless mana the following turn cycle that I don't really need it, and I'm not able to do anything with it right away. So we can just be a little bit more patient with it. Unfortunately, I mean, there's maybe some thought that like if our opponent is casting Smash to Smithereens this coming turn, we're winning, Because like a Thermal Alchemist is really problematic for us right now, but that feels a little too Magical Christmas Landy, like getting into their head about what's going on. Okay, this is good. We can handle that one. Do I have Blue Elemental Blast in the deck? That's just a question. Alright, so we can Teachings on their end step, or we can Pulse a Marassa. We do have a target now in Thermal Alchemist, so if they get really aggressive this turn and go for everything, we can survive, although that is a costly way to do it. But them pushing lethal this turn would involve a Fire Blast, so Thermal would be a ways off in that instance as well. Don't know what I'm going to Teachings for. Blue Blast and Weather. I mean, it's Blue Blast or Weather the Storm, but I'm not certain which of the two I really wanted this time. If they play a permanent that I'm worried about, then we'll get the Blue Blast, but probably if not, we'll just take the Weather the Storm. So if they have Spell, Fire Blast, I lose by tapping out for this Teachings. Do I think I can win this game without casting Teachings now? I don't really feel great about it, to be honest. We only have two. If we try to respect it here with the Pulsar, or by leaving up Pulsar Marassa, we're basically porting ourselves off a colored source for the rest of the game. We only have two of them. And then we're just going to be casting Impulses and Teachings the very slow way to try and get ahead, which I think is just going to be worse versus Epicure, so I'm just going to go for it right now and lose, but I think this is reasonable. Yep. Okay, so we're dead. Oh, Forgotten Cave. We've got Forgotten Cave and Epicure? Oh my goodness. This is something. Alright, so I think I do want Weather the Storm here. Bonder's Ornament is a great draw. So we're going to start with Impulse. Take the Drifter. Play Ornament, and then we have 5 mana. And that lets us go Drifter, Weather for 4. And that should be enough time, because then we get to Pulse back the following turn. So this is going to gain a lot of life. Okay. Yep, let that happen. Name. I don't know what's the appropriate name here. I guess black, in case they start smashing the Bonder's Ornaments. That'll give us the card advantage to get back into it. Now we're in a pretty good position. Next turn we'll go Pulse back Drifter, cast it, and then just see where that takes us. I guess we're pulsing that back instead, but that's fine. That's still an exchange that we're pretty far ahead on. Surprised that they played out that land instead of waited a turn for the blood token, but it's alright. Nice. Alright. Got round one. Alright, here we are for round number 2 versus Leo Bertucci. I think they play a lot of Affinity, if I recall correctly. So that main deck of Braid will certainly be nice in this matchup. Playing against Affinity, I really don't have a concrete plan at this point for red-black. For the Grixis Affinity lists, I think this sideboard works really well, but I don't know how to combat the red-black build the best yet with this deck. It's a little more convoluted. So I think this is definitely a keep. The question is, what do I want to put back? I think Prism, Impulse, and the 2 lands are 100% in this hand, so then it's Wall, Cannonade, or Pulse. I think Cannonade, if I suspect that they are Affinity, Cannonade is going to be one way that we get to interact in the early turns. So then I'm thinking of Pulse or Mnemonic Wall, and I think it's probably just Pulse because we don't have a good way to get a creature in the graveyard, nor will they necessarily be killing our creatures that readily. So I think I don't know, maybe it's like very obviously Pulse or Marasa to you folks watching, and I just enjoy life gain cards too much to want to bottom it. Pulse or Marasa is my favorite card in this deck by far. It's not close. That's because the secret is that Pulse or Marasa has the green icon in the top right of the card, but it is actually a black and white gold card that is just masquerading as a green card. It's got that whole reanimation life gain thing, and they just don't want you to know what kind of color it actually is. And there's a Mole Drifter that would have been great to go with Pulse or Marasa for a punish. So I don't know. It's still probably right to do it that way. But they are on Affinity. It's unclear if it's Grixis or red-black yet. Looking like red-black more and more, but oh, okay, no Frogmites. That's good. Frogmite is a very powerful card in the red-black builds. It's gonna Gallop Blast upstairs or aggressively sacking the blood token. I have to feel pretty good about that if that was the plan. Okay, they are just blasting. We are in a lot of trouble to a ATOG here. We don't have a Fog. We do have this Cannonade to deal with this Frogmite. Maybe they expose like a Disciple of the Vault would be great. Be kind of surprised the timing of the split token. Okay, that makes more sense. So now the question is, do I just want to spew off this Cannonade to remove this and just resign myself to taking 4 a turn? And I think the answer is probably yes. They have an untapped land, they can just sacrifice the Blood Fountain and get it back, but I feel if that's the worst thing that happens to me this turn, then I'm okay with that. Interesting decision coming up next turn if I Impulse or Mole Drifter. Not sure what the best play there is. Okay, okay. This is good for us. Interesting. I think Teachings gives us more of an out to ATOG, where you can start hitting those moments pieces, and I think I want to cast Drifter now, so that if I get some awkward draws here. Maybe since in the future I can go impulse, try to find a moment's peace on the same turn. But now I think we're just dead. 2 more teachings are very awkward. Yeah. This is why I board out teachings a lot of the time. The first one is really good. The second one can be fine. The third one is almost never something you want to draw. And I'm not to imply that I would be winning this game if this teachings was another card, because we're still in a lot of trouble, but looks like they're flooding a little bit over there. If they have a fling, would be a likely card that they have left in their hand. This play is okay because we don't just die immediately. So then do I wish to cast Impulse, looking for a Tron land and hoping to rip? Or do I just put my Thriving Isle into play and Impulse with more information on their next turn? I think I wait here. And I don't think the color really matters for that because I have this Prism and they're unlikely to interact with it game 1. So still dead to like Galv Blast Fling here. And I doubt they would respect like a Prohibit out of me at this point. I think they just jam. Glaze Fiend. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. I think we just take the land here. So I don't think I can teachings for crop rotation, and get the other teachings for moment's peace. So instead I think I just pass, and if I need to fog I will, but I'll just accept that I think I have to accept that I'm dead to Galvanic Blast. Just at any point. And so I think I'm just going to take this hit for 2. Is that greedy? Getting teachings for crop rotation is just so important here to push ahead. I guess if I moment's peace this turn, then next turn I can teachings for crop rotation and flash back the moment's peace, and that line is I don't get to have an explosive turn next turn. I'm still just very much setting up, but I guess that's better than being dead to Galvanic Blast. And also if their hand is just more creatures, that works out better, and that's why getting moment's peace here is nicer than the Weather Storm that you saw on the bottom of the stack there, because if it's just creatures in their hand, Weather isn't necessarily going to buy me a turn. If their hand is multiple Galvanic Blasts, then Weather might have been a better choice, but I feel like that's not a realistic thing to play around. Fling definitely kills me at some point if they just are able to put in a couple artifacts with this Glaze Fiend. Disciple's a tough one. Okay, so I guess I did play around the Galvblast. That's cool. I'm sorry, I'm doing math in my head. So if we spend 5 mana of these, let's say these 5 on the left, we leave this power plant untapped, we spend 4, get the teachings, get crop rotation, have a rotation, get tower, then we have power plant plus tower in play, we tap the tower, we cast Bonder's Ornament, and we hold up Moment's Peace and we just hope they don't rip an artifact that sacrifices itself. I think that's probably our best line. And that sets us up for a Weather the Storm the following turn to try to stabilize. But if they have an artifact that or a way to sacrifice an artifact here, we are very dead. That's okay. It happens. No Disciple of the Vault triggers on the stack, please, opponent. None at all. Just vibes. Just positive vibes that don't deal me damage. That's all I'm asking for. Okay, we're doing it. We are doing things. Oh my god, this cannonade's gonna be so sick. So we have to wait until we weather the storm to cannonade, but it's gonna be really good when we do. So they don't have it in now, so they don't have the way to sacrifice an artifact now, but I need to weather on my turn. I cannot let them get to their draw step. This has to happen now. Oh, I guess I do also have Pulse Marasa. Is Pulse better? No, I think this Weather the Storm is going to be better because we have a lot of action. Yeah. So I think I want to wall, get back Cannonade. Weather for 12, be at 13. You can still easily die here. Very easily, but this is a stabilized point at least. We take 3 damage here. Enforcer was the draw for turn, it seems to me, so I feel pretty good about our situation. Okay, so I am just going to, well, let's Compulsa first. Let's access some resources. Do take a little bit of damage here, but I have, oh, I should have played my land first. Oh, I should have played my land first. I think we're okay. But yeah, I'm going to block Mirror Enforcer with Mnemonic Wall, and then I'm going to Teachings for Pulse Marasa, get it back, and hopefully that buys us enough time. Okay. Very tight game 1. Very tight. Glaze Fiend, not Kiln Fiend, Glaze Fiend. That's tough having 2 fiends that function very similarly. That's a tough one on the brain. But Glaze Fiend is definitely the kind of card that we beat better in game 1. Maybe and it does get harder for us post-board now because we didn't see an ATOG. It's kind of wild to suggest that they wouldn't have an ATOG in the deck, but Glaze Fiend suggests that maybe they're trying to dodge Blue Elemental Blast with a similar kind of go tall effect. But Fangren Marauder and Ancient Grudge still very much what I want. The real question is, do I want Moment's Peace? Because Moment's Peace is a card that's really bad, or not bad. It's something that you can board out of more readily versus Grixis, where they don't have Frogmite chipping in for a lot of damage, and they're not incentivized to keep as aggressive starts because of how they can grind you out with counter magic. So I kind of like Moment's Peace more versus this deck. But then cutting cards becomes harder. So I definitely want these, and I think I want to start with the Blue Elemental Blasts. Happy to trim on a Teachings. I think we trim on the... I don't know if we can board all the way out of the Flicker package, but it gets a lot worse. And Negate and Counterspell are also just pretty poor ways of interacting. I know we don't want 4 Moment's Peace, because they can just bring a lot more to the table than that. It is still nice to have some access to that late game combo. But we can transition to being more of a mid-range deck, because that's Fangren Marauder as your win con is just very good for a lot of these things. Is this okay? I feel like I'm going to go Compulsive Pulse and just have none of the combo in, and just have these value fogs to let us buy time to Fangren Marauder. We're going to try this. I'm not at all certain that this is the right way to sideboard for this matchup, because I already have, you know, like things in my head of like how I'm trying to approach red-black, and Glaze Fiend just makes that even harder. This is another card to be thinking about. I do want to keep this hand, I think. It interacts well. These artifact destruction spells are not game over versus them, and you do have some draws where they're very poor. If they have a lot of Blood Fountains is particularly the card. So they're not always going to be the perfect answer to their board, but just buying time to get to cast your Drifters, to cast your Fangren Marauders, and then have interaction after you get the Fangren Marauder in play is just really nice to keep everything flowing. So Duress here is okay. We do get a really cool curve here where we just get to go turn 2 Grudge, turn 3 Bonder's Ornament, flash back the Grudge. So maybe they want to take Ornament with that in mind. I think just blowing up a land, slow them down. So we've got this Drifter that's coming. The first artifact destruction spell is kind of a gamble in this way, where I don't know, do they need that land? Do they not? It's hard to say, but we've got a lot of powerful cards in our hand that are good if we get to play more turns of Magic, so I want to slow them down to let Muldrifter be a powerful card. So even if it's like, maybe they don't have Blood Fountain and it's better to have grudged the Enforcer, cutting them off before they get to ask the question with Enforcer. I don't know, that thought train of thought got kind of convoluted, but land destruction 101, right? Just hope that it's good. And it was good. Okay, that's awesome. That is awesome. How do I want to sequence this turn? I can just wait and cast Mystical Teachings and get crop rotation, go ballistic on my coming turn cycle, or I can cast Prism and Impulse, try to develop out this turn, and then see if everything is good to go from there. But I think I want to get crop rotation, so I think I'm just going to bog here. I think the sequence of going I guess it is a little awkward because we got this Thriving Island red, but we've got a reasonable chance at casting Fangren Marauder next turn if we get crop rotation this turn. So I kind of like that. More. Bog does have text in the matchup, but unfortunately not in this instance. Alright, so please just don't have a million Frogmites. Oh, they don't. Cool. Gonna start with Prophetic Prism here, just keep developing our mana because we haven't made a land drop. So if we have islands, it can help cast the rest of our spells here. But probably gonna be Prism into Muldrifter. Getting the Plant of Power. Leaving our blue untapped. And I think developing the additional colored source here with the other ornament makes it good just to leave Impulse up here. And again, we'll hold off on the Impulse in case we need to make a different decision. Or, God forbid, they red blast it. Would also just love for that to happen. Mirrored Forcer is still easily turned on this turn cycle. And I don't believe they were able to cast it last turn. So this would be the first chance they have to put them on the stack. See how many. That's unfortunate. Don't get to hit like a creature to really goozle them here, but I guess Teachings has value in the graveyard. I don't know, maybe that should have been Moment's Peace because I already have this Teachings in the graveyard. Yeah, I already immediately regret that. It's just a weird spot. Yeah, that was bad. Unlikely to cost us the game, but definitely not a good decision. So I did get great feedback on the last video I posted from Lovebow. One of the things he commented on. There's a lot of things to criticize him about. My play, certainly, I'm not perfect. But one really good piece of feedback he gave me, among others, was that I hardcast Mulldrifter too much. Don't give enough consideration to just evoking it. And this is unfortunately one of those spots where it's like, I don't really know if should I be evoking it here or should I be hardcasting it? And the Timmy in me is just like, I just want to hardcast. I want to throw my creatures into play, get more chump blockers, and still be able to cast Fangren Marauder off this. So I don't know. I think I want to cast it. The second one is much more of a evoke. This I'm happier doing this with and try to get some inner. Oh my god. Okay. Tower's not the worst draw in the world. We get to teachings for Blue Elemental Blast, which is kind of cool. Yeah, hitting 4 lands off those drifters was not good. If they Gal Blast one of these Mole Drifters, it's awesome. Basically the same as the Enforcer attacking next turn. Plus I get to waste their resources at more inconvenient times because they've only got 1 red available. If it's cast down instead, then, you know, that's great. The Fangren Marauder that I hope is in my deck somewhere, please God, is going to be better. Maybe this is a Deadly Dispute on that Ichor Wellspring. See what they draw and if they want to interact at that point. Okay, just cycling the other star is surprising. Deal. Because I'd still be chumping here anyway. You're just taking away the chump next turn and spending more of the mana now. Like, I love this double block. They can still Mirror Enforcer here. So I think this first Teachings is going to get Pulse of Marasa. The other one's probably locked into getting... Ooh, that's nice. I probably need to get... Oh, what's the card name? Moment's Peace with the other Mystical Teachings, but this Ancient Grudge also changes the math on all of that. Interesting. I think so. Like, killing the Mirror Force is pretty easy here, and then I think I would rather cut the land off and draw a card this turn. And definitely need to keep in mind that we can just Ancient Grudge this Wedding Invitation as well. Blood Fountain's a fine draw to see here too, because if their turn is just accessing these Mirror Enforcers again, that's a really good situation for us to be in. It's just buying time for Fangren Marauder to come down and ruin their day. Trarion, cool. wrong one. I want to grudge this, and then I want to grudge the blood fountain, and play this, also named green, I think, and start attacking. We do have to kill them. We don't have as good inevitability post board, because I boarded out all the mnemonic walls, and yeah. So it's the 2 drifters, or 1 drifter left in the deck, and the 3 Fangren Marauders have to kill them. Based on how they scooped game 1, it's unlikely for that to be an issue, but it certainly can be. I don't even think this fling is lethal here. It's just I want them to not be able to have that in play. Carnarium? Oh my. Whew. That's hot. I do love the value bounce land in the creature combo aggro deck. It's bounce lands are so fun. I'm jealous. Blood Fountain's pretty bad here. We can Teachings for Grudge though and just kill that before it's an issue. Do I have, or have I used all 3 of my grudges? I've used all 3 of my grudges. Yes. Consequences of my actions. At least we still have 1 Teachings in the deck. So we can Teachings for Teachings, Teachings for Blue Blast. Stop the ATOG on its way through. I can do 1 ornament draw right now. May also have mana left over to weather the storm at the end of this whole turn, which would be pretty good. This Moment's Peace is not looking good in my hand though, so maybe I should not be including this card in my deck, and the Bajuka Bog is over here, so I cannot crop rotation for that, which is I would like to. Oh, I boarded out one of the Teachings as well. Right. Alright, anybody know where I can find a Fangren Marauder? Just 1 Fangren Marauder. Guess I'm taking this Blue Elemental Blast, but Fangren Marauder, please. Fangren Marauder, please. Fangren. Oh boy, oh boy. I think this Drifter kind of needs to go coast to coast, so I'm not blocking with it. Plus they have the Wedding Invitation, so if they really don't want it to block, they don't have to. It's been a long time, but I do also get to Cave M Temptation up this Drifter to help it go coast to coast. Feeling very good about my position. It's just the Fangren Marauder would be the thing to tie the room together. Put a nice little bow on it. I did board them in, right? I've looked at this a couple times now. Yep, they're... I know the bottom from Impulse, and it's not a Fangren Marauder, so I would... Yes, thank you. Finally. This is not that well protected, because I think they likely have another cast down based on the way they used that one earlier. But anything's possible. Double Galv Blast gets in there too. So really need to be getting to finding the other one. One of the other options. Although double Galv Blast, we just bev it, and we're in good shape. Okay, cool. Good games. Still don't feel great about that matchup. I think those were some funky games to happen like that. You know, they saw the top 30 cards of their deck and had 3 Mirror Enforcers and an ATOG to show for that, so they had just a very slow draw, although they did have a lot of churning to get through all of that. They did, recur those Mirror Enforcers. They were good, and those Blood Fountains made them good throughout that game, but still just funky. Alright, 2-0. Here we are for round number 3 versus Parallax. We cannot escape this opponent. If I'm recording, just 100% going to play versus them. And it's probably going to be a good match. This hand is pretty good. Gonna keep it. Okay, Windscarred Crag is a good sign for us. That's likely Bully. And we wisely drew the missing Tron piece, so now we get to go Ornament into Drifter on turn 3. Just very fair magic. And I don't want to give them the opportunity to cast a spell involving Bonder's Ornament, so that's why I don't want to go like turn 1 Thriving Isle into turn 3 Ornament without Tron. I want to be able to use it right away, because they likely have some main deck Dust to Dust. And this matchup is really, really good for the Tron side, so I just don't want to play into things like that that easily kill me. Ooh. Ooh, is this some surprise Bajuka Bog value I see? You'll love to see it. You really do. This Rolling Thunder is also just going to be really mean at some point along the way here. That's a lot of red mana. Because they have so many scary white spells, I don't even think this Bog is that good here. So I think I want to start by drifting. And then if I put Thriving Isle in on red, the gig is up entirely. Like, they're just gonna know what's going on. So I don't know if I love that. But at the same time, what are they gonna do about it? I'll chip in for 1 damage. I'll discard an Impulse. I think we've got this game in a pretty good spot. Yeah, they're just so taxed on that mana. So if I go I guess I'll play into the... So that's 4. Oh no, let's do this. It's 5. I want 2 upstairs. I'll play into Mana Tithe. Just making sure I kill the Seeker there through like double bolt, if that was their remaining 2 cards. No reason to lose to that. Oblivion Ring's totally fine here. I don't get to answer. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Teaching is just going to smooth over any issues we have with this hand. Guess I don't need to turn off yields all that way. I don't exactly know what I'm teaching's for here. Yeah, that's kind of... Yeah, they just had a very clunky draw with all of these red sources. Like, the hand looked very functional aside from that. Lunarch Veteran is interesting. I haven't really played against the builds with it before, but... whether or not you want this card in your deck, it is not dependent on this matchup. It does not really matter for this matchup at all. That's okay. So I do want some blue Elemental Blasts. Do feel the loss of Denrova Horror here. It's a card that's weak to Pyroblast, but if we saw those Oblivion Rings there, if they just put something under an Oblivion Ring, we do lose access to it forever, which is not ideal as a way that can sometimes bother these Ephemerate Ghostly Flicker loops. So what do I board out? What do I board out? I think Rolling Thunder's not super necessary. That and Compulsive are just... Compulsive is just begging to be Pyroblasted. This is not even that good if we resolve it. Counterspell's also a lot worse. It can be nice to snag a Palace Sentinels or Battle Screech that comes down too early, but largely we're just fogging them out and like killing them with their own Palace Sentinels. And Blue Elemental Blast is better at fighting over the interactive points that we care about. Abrade's pretty bad, but it's kind of nice to have one thing to kill a relic if they have that in their sideboard. I don't think I can cut the Abrade. Let's trim an Impulse. This hand is slow but good. No turn 1 Thraben Inspector is huge for us. I'm just going to hold up Blue Blast. This hand's not getting to Tron quickly, and I just don't want any shenanigans. Like that. It's not a huge deal, but like that's just going to deal me a lot of damage over the next couple of turns, and I just don't need to deal with that for now. So if they have Molten Rain here, it would be pretty good, but other than that, we're in reasonable shape. They're probably looking for a Palace Sentinels. It's going to be the worst thing for us here. Our hand is pretty weak to that, but such is life. What? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, I just don't even want to cast this Drifter, though. Looks like that. What is in their hand? They didn't flashback looting. They didn't cast a 4-drop. So Pyroblast is a likely spell. Maybe erase the alarm. I just don't want to play into anything that I don't need to. Okay. Nothing proactive on their end step. This is totally fine. Okay, it took me a second to sequence the mana, but we're here. We got it. We're crop rotationing. Really great draw. We're casting Bonder's Ornament. Mole Drifter's going to play with Blue Elemental Blast backup. Cool. Alright. Looking good. Things are happening. Can still... Yeah, this is totally fine. I'm just going to F6. I can't really imagine wanting to Moment's Peace on this board. Yeah, Battle Screech is good, but very beatable. Gonna try to wall back the Blue Elemental Blast here. Because the way that we lose is having Flaring Pain into Blue Elemental Blast with Rally the Peasants. So they can definitely kill us, for sure, with some of those draws there, but... unlikely to be dead this turn, especially with the sequencing. Yeah, that's okay. Really need this Blue Elemental Blast to keep Flaring Pain from wrecking our day. Ooh. Ooh, that bog's actually quite nice. I mean, it's... I don't know. I guess I'm hitting a Faithless Looting. It's something. So they didn't attack with Palace Sentinels last turn, so that does indicate they have Rally here or a Lightning Bolt effect, which is okay. Okay, you can blow up my Prophetic Prism if you don't use any of your mana. This is still more efficient mana to card draw than tapping the Bonder's Ornaments using their ability. So happy to do this for the time being. Get a nice big weather here. So we're going to try to set up mystical teachings, finding fiery cannonade. And I do want to seek out a negate that's in the deck to counter the prismatic strands that they're representing right now. But we have the opportunity to take this really slow. So we're just going to keep developing out our mana and our resources here and try to set up a big turn with that on their end step. Because that Weather the Storm likely keeps us safe from Rally the Peasants shenanigans for this turn. Might even just Moment's Peace proactively to save some life. I'm okay with that. We're drawing a lot of cards here. We have access to a lot of Moment's Peace, so I think this feels fine. So they do have the 5 mana again for the Gorilla Shaman, so they can kill my Prism if I try to flicker it again, but I've got 2 Prisms, which is nice, but now I'm going to be like teachings on end step. I'll Blue Elemental Blast if they try to stop me, but I'm just going to pick up that Cannonade. Draw here. Okay, yeah, I got a lot of things going on there, so I can impulse try to find the negate. I do have the teachings just to go pick up the negate. Maybe try to dig for an Abrade to kill the Squadron Hawk so that the flashback on strands goes away or whatever creature they play there, but got a lot of things going our way there. And yeah, so we are 3-0. Let's keep the ball rolling. Alright, we're gaming in round number 4 versus Toonie 204. Do not know this opponent, but this hand seems good. It's got land drops, it's got Moment's Peace. Just hoping to play a matchup that Moment's Peace is good in. And if we don't, we're in trouble. I'm in trouble. I'm in a lot of trouble. Things are bad. Things are very bad right now. Please don't have Thermo Alchemist. I'd like it very much for you not to do that. I can't complain though. I've gotten very lucky so far these 3 rounds. Getting bodied by burn for keeping a hand like this, that's nature at work. It's the natural order of things. I enjoyed this basic mount a lot from Guilds of Ravnica, or is that Guilds of Ravnica? Yes. It's a really nice one. The colors are really fun on it for a basic mountain. Oh, I'm gonna teachings for not Moment's Peace, Weather the Storm. And hope that's good enough. In their upkeep, I can just go Moment's Peace, Weather for a bunch, if I get there. It's not seeming likely that I get there. Ooh. Okay. I've tapped my mana. You may Fire Blast me now. Yeah, so if I go Vonder's Ornament, Moment's Peace, Weather the Storm, that's still 9. Yeah, okay, we're doing that. The rare Moment's Peace on my own turn. It's not something you want to do, but we're trying to make it work. That's kind of silly. I love it. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad for us. But we've got a little bit of breathing room now. Compulsive's a good one. So it's either I discard Island or I discard Impulse Moment's Peace. I think I'm okay with discarding Island here. And then can Impulse on their turn. Plus Moment's Peace if they have a G2 Lava Runner. Or just Counterspell if they have another impactful 2-drop. And then wall back the Weather the Storm on my turn. And hold things up from there. I think here I will take a Tron land, and mine is the better of the two because crop rotation in the tower is more powerful. We already have... Oh. So this wall isn't really too important, but Teachings for Pulse of Marasa is also somewhat intriguing. Huh. I think I just like getting the mine though. And I'm not going to get cute. I'm just going to gain my 6. If they play Thermal Alchemist, I can go Teachings for a Braid, and that'll be helpful, which is pretty important. If I didn't have the 8 mana, I don't think I would take that aggressive a stance. Oh yeah. I'm blocking. Good attack. I like the attack. Deal. Gonna Impulse here because Tower crop rotation is just nuts. Bajuka Bog's not bad here, but it's not really good either. I think I'll take it though, because the redundancy on ornament's like pretty rough. We do get to take like a point of toughness or power off the Lava Runner this way. Although I might still just be like casting Moment's Peace and counterspelling whatever their main spell for the turn is. One in a green, gain 1 life. A classic Magic the Gathering spell. Beloved by audiences. Alright, well, Teachings is good here. Still just hang on to this counterspell for a while. That land drop may have been unintended by the opponent. They did show that they were a Searing Blaze deck. Right? No, they didn't. No, never mind. Forget me. Ignore me. I'm not saying anything important. I do think Burn's at like a really interesting point in its life as a deck right now. There's a lot of interesting deck building decisions at play with the new cards that were printed. Reckless Impulse and Voldaren Epicure really ask for different incentives in your deck building. I think Reckless Impulse is a lot more powerful than Voldaren Epicure, but it's a really cool time to be playing Burn and trying to figure all of that out. We're pretty safely out of burn range from the Curse of the Pierce Dart, so for time purposes I will now auto yield to it. I'm still holding Counterspell up, so I will draw to try and hit a land drop. Mole Drifter's great. That's all fine because we just get to pulse back again. Cool. Alright. Getting game 1 against Burn, was it both? Yeah, we got game 1 there as well. That's very lucky. I think played well to get to that point for sure, but you know, it's still lucky. So Cannonade was the card where we did not see any Epicures out of them. So when it's just Lava Runner that you're hitting, some consideration for it, but I still don't think we need it. So we can just take out the 4 Moments pieces, the Cannonade, and we're ready to rumble. I don't know if I said this before, but Serene Heart is for Curse of the Pierced Heart. It's narrow, but any way that you get like to focus your Blue Blast more on spells that matter and just have a little bit of flexibility with this is in your Mystical Teachings deck is just really nice. Yep, I am good to go with that. Hand is awesome. Got the Blue Blast, got a Crop Rotation, got a land that casts both of them. This is great. Ornament, always a good draw when you have Tron on. Not always, but you know, it's a good card to have access to when I'm going to be hitting turn 3 Tron. Oh. Oh no. This is not going to be a really close game, I'm afraid. Those are hands that you just have to keep. Like Rift Bolt, Needle Drop, you are like a lot better than other one-landers to keep. But it's still tough. I think I'm just going to abrade that since this card has much more limited targets. It looks like a good one-lander they kept, though. It's just unfortunate. Wait, actually, hold on. Yeah, I'm in my main phase. Yeah, I'll pulse back this Thorn. Gain 7. Still be holding up Blue Blast. Just make sure that I'm developing my mana. See what land number 2 holds. Taking some game actions, as one does. Not holding up a braid this turn, but I think we'll be okay. I could have gotten sick Serene Heart value. Now I'm just 1-for-1ing with Serene Heart. Unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about too many different things. I don't need to do anything. I'm not sure how I lose this, so I think I should wait to see. Let them demonstrate to me how I lose, and then make my decisions from there so that I don't get too cocky and mess myself up. They can kill my wall in response here and gain some value, but Yep, that's fine by me. Looking for a mole drifter just to start attacking. But teachings will do just fine here as well. Picking up an ephemerate with that. But for now, we'll just keep hanging out and clicking some buttons, trying not to punt the game. I don't think I even want to ephemerate. I think I just draw here. Don't let my wall die to a fire blast and have this game take longer as a consequence. There's the drifter. Hand's pretty well set up, so just discarding the crop rotation and impulse that don't really get us closer. I'm probably going to stop drawing with ornament just for time considerations. It's not really necessary. Gonna kill him in 5 turns. I guess I could do 4 if I activate Cave of Temptation, but that doesn't seem necessary. Collect our 4 damages. Keep on going. I like it. Do they know about this teachings? They do not. Also completely random, not completely random, but mostly random aside here. I saw this ephemerate, like the old border is like 8 tickets now. That's pretty wild to me. I picked this up for like 5, I think. Which is well worth it because I really like the look of it. I tried the Strixhaven Mystical Archives ephemerate, and the orange border here, it was too much to target with ephemerate over and over. Compulsive, you don't really have that issue, but Ephemerate you have to target a lot in your graveyard and it was harder. But we are 4-0, the tangent aside, so we are playing for the trophy. Let's get it, but not be too disappointed if we don't. That's also important. If a 4 won this league, super happy with that. Cannot complain. See you for round 5. Alright, here we are for round number 5, playing versus Vinny Torres. I've seen this username before, but unfortunately I can't really recall what they play. Some part of my brain is telling me Stompy, but that was a long time ago. This hand's pretty awkward. It's got like 3 lands ornament, which is frequently good enough. I think I'm gonna try it. Weather the Storm does a lot to like patch things up here. Acting as like the 5th moments piece is pretty nice here. I guess what's really putting me over the edge here is if they're fairies, this Abrade is going to do a lot to keep us from getting ninja'd on the early turns, and then we have lands to develop out with this ornament being good. This would be worst, I guess, in the mirror. This would be a terrible hand for the mirror. I guess not even that bad. Yeah, this hand's just, it's just very medium. It's not explosive. But not every hand with this deck needs to be explosive. Okay. That doesn't necessarily mean Grixis, because a lot of the red-black builds play one of those as just an additional black source that's indestructible. So if we see a second one, it likely means Grixis, but the first one is hard to say. I don't think that necessarily informs our land drop either. I think we still want to just play the bog. Okay, it looks like it's red-black. And I guess this is going pretty poorly for us because game 1, it's just hard to have a really good hand versus Affinity, because the most solid plan that you get to offer up when you have your whole 75 to choose from is Fangren Marauder as your inevitability, and that's just not even on the table in game 1. So to have a slow draw here is going to be pretty punishing for us. That's okay. Interesting. Okay, so they got Wedding Invitation in Grixis. That seems odd to me. Wedding Invitation has like kind of unimpressed me when I've played that deck. It has its very powerful moments, but I think you only want that over Flaying when you are happy to activate it targeting Mirror Enforcer, and that's something that red-black does more frequently, where you've got the Frog Mites that are like chipping in for damage, where giving a Mirror Enforcer unblockable is like game-breaking. When you don't have Frog Mites, I'm not as huge of a fan of it in Grixis. But okay, Tower was a good draw. Tower was good. I'm not going to respect the main deck Dispel, so I'm just going to pass with Teachings up here and see if I need to do something else instead with my time. So this bog can actually be pretty good here, where next turn, if we just get to like Teachings this turn for crop rotation, which it looks like we're going to be able to, wow. I was going to say this bog was actually going to be somewhat, excuse me? Spell Pierce? Okay. Well, I'm very happy to not deal with that later on. Spell Pierce and Wedding Invitation. This pushes in 2 different directions for my liking. Like Thoughtcast has you wanting to play longer games, and then Wedding Invitation, Spell Pierce are like, I want to play 4 to 5 turns then be done. maybe not 4 to 5 turns, but like, 7 to 8. Thoughtcast is looking a little bit longer than that. So now what do I want to do? Do I want to play the land to flashback teachings? I think I do, or just leave that up as an option. I'm surprised when they saw that I had both Tron lands in play there too, that they let me, or they stopped the teachings, because I think me going for crop rotation there is pretty reasonable, and they get a huge blowout there if they get the crop rotation. I lose a land as well. Let's see. Now I might not have the luxury of getting crop rotation. I might just need to go and get a counter spell for an ATOG. And I believe that's what I'm going to do. Is it, I guess? They have this blood fountain in play, so maybe I just don't care at all. Maybe I just say crop rotation, get some Tron lands, and just try to overpower that way. I think the Weather the Storm actually tips the dial on that, where if they like go for a big ATOG fling turn, I can like pulse and Weather to try to stabilize during that. I should not have done that main phase. I should not have done that. Yeah, I don't think I can afford to activate Bonder's Ornament here. I think this Weather is too important to keeping me alive versus ATOG Fling. And the thing that I like wanted to cantrip for the most was the land drop, and we got to do that anyway. So I think that was, yeah, that was just bad. I don't think it'll cost us the game here. I think that's unlikely that we lose by 1 storm count, but I probably should have waited. Not probably, I definitely should have. That's bad. So now we just have to cheese with Weather. Oh god, this is a really hard turn. This is a really hard turn. Okay, so crop rotation, I can sacrifice a land to get Cave of Temptation to access another colored source and effectively give me 1 free storm. And so then I want to be able to cast Pulse of Marasa, Abrade, and Weather the Storm. So okay, crop rotation this away, I get Cave of Temptation. I use Cave of Temptation and Earth's Power Plant, cast a Braid, targeting Disciple of the Vault. And then I can if they try to like fling me in response right now, which they have the capacity to do, I've got 3 colors here, green, green, to do Pulse Back, Mole Drifter, and then Weather the Storm. If they dispel me, I guess they got me. So on their turn, or do I have the next question is, do I have the option to wait to Pulse plus Weather on their turn to see if they go all in with ATOG? That seems unlikely because they're very possible to respect a Moment's Peace, but I don't have the Moment's Peace. So I do not want to let Deadly Dispute resolve because then they have 2 mana for Fling. So I want to Pulse now, get back Drifter, go to 26. Storm is 6 here. And I'm going to hope that this is enough to get me through their turn. It's very possible it's not. If they've got a couple more Disciples at the go, they can maybe deal me the 44. But I think that's the best I can do. When did I get that Impulse? I guess there's some thought for Impulse plus, I don't know. This is, let's see, so each of these is 3 damage. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 right now. So they've got 40 damage on board. Huh. Yeah, it looks like they got the kill here. I wonder, maybe I did I play that turn correctly? I don't know. It was a really tough turn. Even if I don't, though, and I like try to represent Moment's Peace with this Impulse, that I guess I drew off the Drifter, then I go into their turn trying to hope that that's enough, but then like the chip damage from this double Disciple probably just gets there anyway. Yeah, I don't think that was... Yeah, I don't think that was going to do it either. That was a close game, though. I think that was a pretty tight sequence we came up with last turn to try to give ourselves the most life gain. And we weathered for Storm 6 in total, and it would have been 5, you know, at this point in the game if we had waited, so it doesn't even necessarily feel like it was a spew, or like that we could have gotten more out of it. Like that, I think that was the max value up to this point in the game that we would have seen. I think I'm dead here, but just gonna let them determine that to be sure. Yeah, extremely dead. So going into sideboarding, we think about that for a little bit. We got the blue elemental blasts, the grudges, the Fangren Marauders. Feel pretty good about bringing all that in without the Frogmites or the Glaze Fiends that we saw earlier from the red-black opponent. I really don't want the Moments Pieces, so Moments Pieces are just all going to come out. Probably going to trim Ephemerate, one of the teachings, and one of the mnemonic walls so that we de-emphasize that flicker plan a little bit because it is so weak to Galvanic Blast and other, just, you know, tapping out for stuff on our main phase when Fangren Marauder is really the high impact card that we want to be tapping out for. Alright, so these 10 Thunder's out because it's clunky. Doot doot. Okay, so that's 8. What are the other ones I don't want? Counter spells. Yeah, just unnecessary. I think they're just all in on ATOG, and we're just gonna pile up Blue Blast for that. And when you're piling up Blue Blast, your blue mana gets even more taxed, so the counterspell just becomes even harder to cast, and it's just not worth it at that point. Crop rotation's super tough. I still don't know how I feel about it in the matchup, because if they have Dispel or the Spell Pierce that they showed us in the main deck, it's dangerous to just fire those off, but at the same time getting to Fangren Marauder quickly is how we win the game, so you kind of want to keep hands that do that. And we do have the Bog, which gets additional value. Maybe trim this Negate. Again, just that we're upgrading with the blue elemental blasts. It's kind of nice. This Negate is definitely better. Oh, decisions. Going down to one wall feels pretty rough. I'll trim the Negate. Don't like that. Alright, this hand can do the thing. It can put a Fangren Marauder into play relatively quickly. And we just use our mana pretty effectively in the meanwhile. Get to Impulse on turn 2. If they don't duress us. Blue Elemental Blast can hopefully nag something. Opponent mulligan to 5. That's awesome. Alright, Impulse, I need you to show me the other Tron land. Also, super happy if they want to bed me. Super happy. Like, just do anything to interact with this Impulse. So again, not main phasing it there. Tower. Show me the tower. Yes. Yes. Okay, we're doing it. We're doing it. I think I will Divination this Drifter, because Blue Elemental Blast means our blue mana is going to be pretty taxed in the future. So I want to, especially when that means like maybe trying to protect the Fangren Marauder with it. Okay. Alright, we're getting somewhere. Ornament would be the nut draw, I think. Prism's great too, though. like randomly have a cleansing wildfire or something that you feel the need to fire off. Ooh. Ooh, missing the land drop. I guess maybe I should have prismed first, but I don't know what I'm doing drawing that's not Fangren Marauder. Yeah, okay, we're fine. But important not to get sloppy with the sequencing either. Okay, okay, we got one. So on the draw, crop rotation is even more suspect, but I just don't think we can be that passive. And they're able to use their mana so much at instant speed that's like not unreasonable that they tap out for like Deadly Dispute, and before they get the treasure we can like slide the crop rotation in and get the acceleration out of it. I think we just need it too much. I have any other space for this negate? I don't think so. So, unlike Burn, having just a pile of blue elemental blasts is not great, because you have instances like in game 1 where they had the Disciple first and then played the Atog, and that represented just, like 11 damage on the board. So it's not like we're going to be able to exchange these blue blasts easily in the early turns. They're going to be like waiting in our hand until they decide to place an Atog on the stack, and they don't have to do that for a while. So really I'm evaluating, are these 5 cards on the right an acceptable enough early game to keep me alive? And I don't think they are, especially when we have Ancient Grudges and then the Marauders as like a better end game to be drawing to, and this doesn't access Tron that easily. I think we can mulligan this on 7. Like a 5-card hand, I would snap this off, but I think on 7 we need to try to do a little bit better. And I think this is a little bit better. It has more early interaction to get there. And this is another tough decision on what to bottom. It might be the Blue Blast for that, for acknowledging that it's going to take a while for that card to become relevant. They're not putting a lot of red things on the stack early. I kind of like that, and we're just going to try to churn through the rest of this. Hopefully this Ancient Grudge can be disruptive in some way. Thriving Isle? Okay. Alright, would love to hit an untapped land. Perfect. That works fine. That works fine. Alright, we can double Stone Rain them next turn, which hopefully will buy a significant amount of time. Okay, Ancestral is pretty good here. Miss that land drop. Miss the land drop, please. Okay. Oh, you're kidding. No way. No way. Oh my god, we're gonna do it. Oh, we're gonna do it. Oh, we're gonna do it. Oh, it's happening. It's happening. Oh, we even drew the Fangren? Nice. We did it. Yo. Yo. Oh. Oh, we trophied. That's so sick. That's so sick. Oh my god, I'm so happy. For some additional amount of context here, too, I play, roughly about a league a day. It's kind of the pace I play at, and I've been on this massive cooler. I haven't trophied since July of last year while playing a league a day. So this is, oh, that feels so good to have this on the recording as well. Oh, oh, it's beautiful. Oh, this is absolutely beautiful. Oh, I'm so happy. This is great. Well, yeah, that was just a really great final game as well. Beating Affinity twice, that's awesome. That's not easy to do. The Abrade over Denrova Horror was not like a huge component of this league, but it was a helpful card to have in hand compared to Horror for a lot of those games. Our sideboard plan definitely got executed well with Marauder and Ancient Grudge, basically both cheesing wins. They had lower power hands in the sideboard games, and that was just too much disruption for them to overcome. Wow, that's so unreal. I'm so happy. This is great. Happy you got to share this league too, because there were a lot of really tight sequences throughout this league, and I hope that showcases just how cool of a deck Tron is to play. There's a lot of these lines that are just not obvious when you're first evaluating a board state. Like I think about game 1 versus Grixis Affinity there. That was the Pulse plus Weather line. We still lost, but I thought that was just like a really great sequence turn that I was proud of, and like that's something that I'm hoping to share about this deck, because Tron is a really cool deck to play and get better at, and just trying to see all of those possibilities as you're playing the games is really hard to do, and it's just a lot of repetition to get to that point. So I'm just really happy to share that, and of course get feedback how I'm playing. I did not play this league perfectly. There were definitely mistakes that I made, things that I would have liked to have done differently, but also a lot of things that worked out well in my favor. So, oh, that's unreal. This is so sick. So sick. Oh, I'm very happy. Well, I won't ramble on too much here. Thank you folks so much for watching. All of the positive feedback so far has been greatly appreciated. It means the world to me. It's really cool that, just me talking on my computer, this has some value to somebody else. It's just really great. I'm happy to give back to the Pauper community, where, I've enjoyed so much content over the years from the folks that have made it, that it's really awesome to be part of that cycle at this time. So yeah, that's a Tron trophy right there. I guess 1 mid-range deck feasted on, and then 4 linear decks that we just beat up with our 4 blue elemental blast sideboard. So very clean. That's awesome. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.